Hello, all, and welcome to the Fantasy and Sci-Fi Fanatics podcast. Today, I have me a very special returning guest, W.A. Simpson. How are you doing today?
Great. How about yourself? Hello,
Oh,
everybody.
awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody for joining us. Thank you again, Wendy, for joining us. If you guys have not checked out our first episode, I should have looked at the number. But it was this past season, so I'll actually leave that other interview. We had a good time for that one too. So I'll leave that link in the description of this interview, so you guys can go and check that out as well. We talked about quite a few things for that one. I love the world building chat we had too. I just had somebody who had watched that one recently. I don't know if they watched or listened. They had checked us out, and yeah, they had privately messaged me, so I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, but yeah, thank you so much for coming back on, and I can't wait to open up some more discussion about you and your writing journey, and your new book in particular. So thank you so much for coming back.
My pleasure.
I guess I don't scare people off, guys. Some of you were wrong in the chat. Or wrong on YouTube, I should say. All right. Well, Wendy, we talked about this a little last time, but in case people haven't, seen you on, our last episode, what has your writing journey been like since last we spoke last season?
Okay. Well, like I said in the question, it's not changed too much except one big gigantic change. I no longer have my literary agent. It was totally amiable. We both agreed it wasn't one of those, oh, I'm firing you type things. She is a wonderful agent, but she was just going into another direction than I was, because and if you look at her manuscript wish list right now, she's doing like mystery and thrillers. That's what she's doing mostly. And she realized that's really not my thing. It's, I mean, that's what I not write. Nothing wrong with them. It's just that that's not what I write. And well, we had this little email back and forth because I was giving her this like list of ideas that I had, and it's actually on my website under WIPs. Don't go to my website right yet because I have been redoing it for like 2 weeks now, and I still haven't gotten it how I wanted. But I mean, if you want to go check it out, go check it out. I mean, it'll look weird because I'm trying to get to change the focus being on the Riven Isles to just my basic fantasy writing career. So she suggested, like, okay, no, maybe you might want to think of looking for someone else because this is what I want, and you seem to be going in another direction. And so we agreed. I mean, it was fine. No, anybody can ask her if they want to verify it. Go right ahead. So right now, I am shopping a middle grade contemporary fantasy called The Girl of Morning Glory.
Oh, cool.
And it's kind of weird being back here again because I just spent like the past 5 or 6 years with the Riven Isles, and I had my agent, and everything was cool, and I had my 9 to 5, and then all of a sudden, I shouldn't say everything is the same because it's not. All right,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
let me change that. All right, um, and I don't need to tell you how the job market is, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, I hadn't been employed for quite some time because, yeah, well, I don't know if you ever worked at a bank, but
Yeah, no.
yeah,
I've had friends that have though. I've had a lot of friends in my hometown that worked for two
yeah,
main banks there.
and they like to downsize and
Yep.
yeah,
One of
uh,
my friends is on his fourth bank in my
lay off
hometown.
and how much now?
This is his fourth bank. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've worked at probably a lot more than that. Well, my older brother Lance, who lives with me, he's having some medical issues. I'm of course not going to get into that, but I was looking for work, and then a friend of mine who also worked at the same place and is also no longer there, she said, if you're taking care of your brother, you can get paid for that. And I was like, really? Okay. And it took a long time. You've got a lot of paperwork to fill out. Then I was going to other organizations to get things for my brother. And it just took a whole long time. We are okay right now. I actually have the IRS to thank for having some money, but that refund came in handy. But now I am doing that part time. Ooh, and you know what? Excuse me for 1 second.
Yeah.
I have got to clock out. I meant to clock out like right when. Oh, goodness, goodness.
Don't worry, Wendy. We won't tell anybody.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, yeah, I'm okay. Clocked
My
out.
friend did that a couple weeks ago. He goes, I've been on the clock for 3 hours. It's like he had to
Yeah,
go back to work and clock out.
yeah.
He
It's
got
only
home the
it's
next day
only
and goes,
10
my
minutes.
boss took care of it. I was
Yeah,
like,
because I'm. It's only 10 minutes because I was going to clock out at 3 anyway. But I was having a bit of trouble learning this new system.
oh yeah, it's a
Yeah,
little different. Yeah.
I was having trouble with the camera, and I'm like, I hope he doesn't come on and wondering why I'm not appearing.
It keeps making me on my end want to update. And I'm like, no, I don't want to update right before every interview. Please stop. It's like Zoom almost now. I'm like, can't get away from it.
Can't he use Zoom like everybody else?
Zoom kept making Zoom has been such. I actually, thanks for reminding me. Speaking of clocking out, I have to get rid of Zoom this weekend because I was paying for both.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I was doing this for lives and just for editing and stuff. But then it was like Zoom was giving me such grief.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and then like to download and then upload again, and it was just like too much. Yeah, so I thought,
Too
you know
much of it.
what? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna switch permanently.
Hmm.
So, and
I
like
see.
the audio was off.
Yeah, I see lots of commercials about this service on
Yeah,
YouTube.
it's been a lot better. Like Herman Stewart Angle, if you're watching,
Hmm.
thank you. I did tell him thank you last night in his live.
Hmm.
He brought back his new podcast. He renamed it. Great one with Michael Vadney, who was actually on here twice. The live with helped me. My friend Ben Shankman's book launch, and we he's actually just launched his book Crownfall too. But yeah, like it was so interesting because I got to tell him in the chat. I was like, because he was talking about this app, and I was like, oh, thank you so much for telling me about it because man, it just it's I spend so much less time getting more stuff for you guys. So it's nice
Uh-huh.
just doing this talk and then I can send you 20 videos, and if you yeah, have a YouTube channel, I can actually once I upload everything, I can actually directly collaborate with you and you can actually funnel it that way. So yeah, the one I'm going to be on tomorrow, it's kind of nice with him and I both have YouTube channels and this other podcaster. And yeah, I was like, oh, can we just do the collaboration? So I'll have a whole nother video for my author channel and this podcast as well. So it's kind of interesting.
Right. It does. It is. Excuse me. It does sound interesting. Oh, where was I? We kind of got off topic here.
Oh no, that's okay.
Uh,
Yeah, but you were saying that, yeah, like things kind of change for you, yeah, in terms
yeah.
of work, yeah.
So now I'm a I guess you call me part-time. I don't want to say full-time. I'm like a part-time caregiver,
Wow.
and it gives me a lot more time to write and do things that I need to do.
Yeah,
I'm not like having to run out somewhere. I mean, except when it's errands. I mean, I know a lot of people like going back to the office, but I like working from home. Sometimes I miss the office, and then I think of how it was, and that takes care of it. So,
yeah.
not that I'm saying I'm not dissing people who like to go back to the office. Sometimes I miss it too, especially when I'm in one, and I think, wow, this used to be my turf, but
Yeah.
that's how life turns out.
Yeah.
But like I said, I am shopping a young adult contemporary fantasy. You saw how I answered the question. I got the idea from actually just sitting in my office here. It was quiet. My brother, this is when he could like move around. He had gone fishing, and it was just me and the cats, and it was all just so peaceful. And then I happened to look to the side like that, and there was this single sunbeam just coming down, and it was on my carpet, and you could see the little dust motes. And I was thinking, wow, this is a really nice, peaceful scene. I wonder if somebody would just, if you just woke up suddenly to a scene like this. And that's how Morning Glory got started. It's about a doll who comes to life, and the first being she meets is this cat called Gray Malkin. And Gray Malkin gives her name, Morning Glory. She starts teaching her lessons and everything like that. And it was a short story, and it stopped with that same night her going to sleep and saying, okay, I'm looking forward to new adventures tomorrow. and I couldn't sell it as a short story. So I kind of like set it aside for a little bit. It was like a while back. And one thing I was talking to my agent about once, whenever I go on my signings, um, there are a lot of little kids around. People are a couple people have been telling me, "Oh, middle grade is not, it's not popular," and I'm like,
There's so I,
eh,
as a teacher, I would
yeah,
severely disagree with that. These guys are trying to find books that are
yeah.
fun, appropriate. Yeah.
I mean, like maybe 75% of the people who come in are parents with young kids, and of course, they can't read Tales of the Riven Isles. So I went back to Morning Glory and I tweaked it and then I continued the story. I don't want to give much away, but it does focus on some serious areas that children have to like go through. Uh, you know, going about death and how, you know, when you lose someone, that grief you have to go through and what can you do about it. And, Glory, when she wakes up the next day, Gray Malkin is gone and there are two other cats there with her. And so she's like, well, where's Gray Malkin? And they said, Gray Malkin has passed away and we're here now. So she decides, I'm going to go and find the person who took Gray Malkin. And the cats are trying to explain to her it's not a person. So that's pretty much how it starts. And there's like I said, I don't want to give away too much, but one thing I do know, I'm really proud of it, and I really believe the kids will love it. So
Awesome.
it's got that serious side, it's got a fun side, it's got an adventurous side. Now, if I could just find a literary agent to
Yeah.
to get me out there, but yeah, I've been. It's only been a few months, so I'm sure you know how long it takes sometimes.
Yeah, one of my buddies,
Mm-hmm.
he put everything out there.
Mm-hmm.
He might be watching, and yeah, I was like,
Oh,
so be
okay.
prepared. I was like, be prepared for like a year, or an average, right?
I mean, they say the longer it is, the better your chances. No news
Yeah,
is good
yeah,
news.
yeah.
That's what I've always heard.
He pulled them. He pulled them. He's like, I'm just gonna go back to Indy. After like 2 months, he goes, I'm just like, he's like, and I laugh because like I have certain things right where I'm like, I have these things that I'm going to try and do trad, but I have other stuff that like I just know I want control of it. I think
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson personally, I think has the best idea, just funneling stuff back and forth with being a hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because I think it'd be fun to kind of do both things.
Yeah.
I get bored easily, so maybe that's. But I think it's smart though, because that what you're saying is, yeah, if you're seeing that many kids, I mean, it only makes sense to get a product, right? So that
Yeah.
they'd be interested in too. So I think that's really
Because
smart.
knowing I encouraged one child to read, that'll be one of my good deeds for the day.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and I also have this a young adult it's straight fantasy, and it was actually something I did many, 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 many decades ago. And it was part of what I call my writing defeat, where, and again, this is something else I'm not going to get into, but it was an independent publisher. Things didn't really work out too well. And it was my first, oh, I think I'm going to cough. One second. Oh, excuse me. I am so sorry. Well, I got the first two and a half books done. It was also going to be a
Oh, well.
4 book series, and things happened. The publisher went out of business.
Oh yeah, I remember we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, did we
We
before?
did. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Then so, and like with the little kids, I kept seeing these teenagers coming in wanting books.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, some parents, and it was totally up to them, they bought the Riven Isles for their like, I say it's 16 and up, but some
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
kids are like 12, 13, 14. And, I say, okay, well, there's some scenes in here. Oh no, she's read, this one girl gave me this other book that she read. I can't remember a name, but it's a really controversial book. that's been out there for a long time. The name escapes me, but it is not something. I mean, if I had kids, I wouldn't let them read it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not a parent, so I don't. I mean, you have kids, right? Yeah,
I got a little guy. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's funny because like my wife, we had that talk, right? Because she asked me, and my when we were like recently saw my parents over spring break a couple weeks ago,
Hmm.
in Michigan, and yeah, and she was like, "You did you have a problem with him?" She's like, "You didn't have a problem with him reading, but did you have a problem with him reading too much?" My
Yeah,
mom's like, "No, I didn't really. You know, I read Stephen King, like that kind of thing, but like." Yeah, like I was reading like Forgotten Realms, Star Wars, so that's probably why I
yeah,
write a lot of PG-13 stuff, and even some of the stuff I have that swears or see in my urban fantasy, right? Like if it's R, it's not like a hard R, I guess is what I always say. It's
yeah.
just a little
See,
bit higher.
me too.
Yeah, so it's a little
I
different.
try not to go there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm rewriting the entire first book from
Oh
scratch.
wow.
Yeah, that's going to take a while.
Yeah. I've done that, so I totally get that.
Yeah, and there's the second. I have the full second book written, so now I have to redo that so it fits with the first book. That's now going to be entirely different, and I got maybe like half, actually more than a half of the third book done,
Oh, wow.
and that's when I quit, quote unquote, writing, and I didn't write for about maybe 2 years or so, and then I don't know, you can't quit if you really love writing. Oh, I quit. I mean, if you need to step back for a while, that's what I say, step back, get yourself together, because I mean, if it's starting to stress you out and everything, then you just need to step back. But
Yeah.
uh I really can't say what made me decide to start Tinderbox, but I don't know, maybe I was reading the story that it's based on, but suddenly I was like, okay, I've got this idea. Hans Christian Andersen, the Tinderbox. What happened to the soldier after he became king? And boom, there was Tinderbox. And then I went to, of course, Tarotmancer, the Hatter's Daughter, and that's getting a lot of nice. People love the Hatter's Daughter because of the whole Alice in Wonderland thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was going to be a 5 book series, but I was able to tell the story in 4. So now I'm back here again, all stressed, but still doing it.
It's so funny that you said that, like it's five, and then you did four because I've
Hmm.
had that. It's so funny because my first season, like 4 years ago, like almost 4 years ago now, there was so many people I was interviewing who were saying they thought it was going to be four for the quartet or whatever, and then they went five,
Yeah,
and so they had to flip. But now I've interviewed a bunch of you authors who have been like the opposite, where you're like, oh, I was planning on five. But then because I think the market was different a few years ago, right?
yeah,
Where five was kind of more typical than three even. And then now all of a sudden, yeah, everybody's like, there's been a couple series, right, where I know people in the indie sphere in particular, where like readers were complaining, right? Like, oh, it just feels like these two books could have been one. And I've totally been there, reading and stuff. So I think it's so interesting to just see that flip. So I just want people
yeah.
who are authors and writers in the audience to know, like, kind of just depends on the story, like I've said since season one, so, and the person who's telling it. So, and what the
Right
characters want to do.
now, right now, Stillbound. It's coming out on the 9th of June, and I'm just looking for another agent and just I know I need to start working on something else and not sit here waiting for the call. But it's I'm doing other things. Like, as I said, I'm building up my website. I'm getting stuff settled here at home, and I'm just trying to get everything together. And then hopefully I will hear from an agent soon. And once I do, I'm hoping not only to uh, submit Girl of Morning Glory, but, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, I have another finished novel called Gunslinger Witch. Did
Oh,
I
we
mention
did talk
that
about
this
that.
time? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm the
So,
first pre-order, so
yeah,
you got to get that one
thank
out there.
you. So I,
People got to check out our last interview because you talked a lot
yeah,
about that. It sounded
definitely.
awesome.
Yeah. So I still want to try and get that out there
Oh,
somehow,
it'd be awesome. Yeah.
because yeah, because I know people are gonna. It's more for new adults, but I know people are gonna enjoy it.
Well, the Western type of stuff like that with the gunslinger and like the fantasy, like I just think you have so many people who grew up on the Dark Tower or read it recently because of like they're supposed to be redoing the series on TV or whatever. I thought Idris Elba was amazing. Him and Matthew McConaughey. The story was a little off, I think, but I think there's a resurgence there. But like I have a couple authors that I have had on, and they have like both the pirate theme of some of some sort of fantasy pirate theme, as well as Western with like the gunslinger motif is really coming back. I interviewed my friend Clayton Snyder years ago. His book Cold West was one of the best books I've ever read, and it took a bunch of that. But it's really like a gunslinger type of story. So I remember when we talked about that, I had just gotten done with his book, and I still because there's not that many of them, right? Like you yearn for really good
Yeah,
ones. So yeah, so I
exactly.
think there's definitely a market for it.
Hmm. But that's about it, what I've been doing lately.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I look forward to reading that book in particular. I had another, like I said, I had another author on, and yeah, she's got a similar one that just came out, and it's on my list for the summer. So yeah, I think it's I always wanted to be a cowboy. So uh, and yeah, now I'm old, and I just like a bunch of combat sports. I don't want to lay out on the ground like I used to. I used to go camping with my best friend all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
we always just wanted to ride those horses. So yeah, that definitely
Hmm.
is definitely my type of story. But do you mind telling us a little bit more about people haven't checked them out yet or seen our last interview? What are your tales from the Ribbon Isles about, and how'd you come up with this idea?
Okay. Well, is it okay if I don't answer like exactly what you're seeing there? Because
Oh no, yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
just sent them to you. Just like normally people, yeah, they just kind of see. I just like you guys to see ahead of time,
yeah.
what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah, totally fine.
Okay. Well, of course, it started with Tinderbox, and once Tinderbox was done, I kind of made the whole series about questions about certain stories. Tinderbox, like I said, was based on Hans Christian Andersen's story and what happens to the soldier who becomes king afterwards. Romancer is based on the French fable Renard the Fox. I'm not sure if you're familiar with. Oh, you are. Oh,
Yeah,
good,
yeah. We actually I had just for some reason it just popped up for me before our last interview, and
good.
we chatted about it, and then I was reading it after, so it was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Serendipitous, I guess they would call
Yeah.
it, right?
So again, this was a like, okay, Renard the Fox, he did all this really messed up stuff to people. What would happen if somebody finally decided to come after him about it? Yeah, so that's how we got the city of Vale. Um, Renard was always trying to trick the old king, and my cat is really trying to get in, and she has finally succeeded. So, okay. So if you hear a meow, that's her. But as you know, in Tarot it's about Renard the Fox. The old king has died, the one that Red could manipulate. That's what he calls himself. And his son is like, we're not, that's not going to happen. We're going to get Renard, bring him back here, and he's going to pay for all of his crimes. And it's just that Harper, she just happened to be wrong place, wrong time. She, well, maybe not the wrong time because she does save him from being executed. So after that, people assume that, oh, yeah, this must be someone that uh, Red really cares about. So we'll take her and then, we'll make Red just come and turn himself in. Now, of course, with the Hatter's daughter, again, what happens to Wonderland after Alice leaves? Now, I'm sure there are other books like that pose that question, but I always thought once Alice leaves, you don't you how is the kingdom, how is Wonderland going to get along without her? And they do until Faith is dropped into the rabbit hole. The Mad Hatter picks her up. Okay, I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to raise you as my own. And so, and again, I'm trying not to do spoilers in case people
I
haven't
know
read
it's
it.
hard.
But yeah, so because this is a Wonderland is a magical world, the Riven Isles consist of several different magical worlds from stories that I have always loved. So with that, it asks the question: what if trouble comes to Wonderland, but Alice isn't there? She's not available. And even when they, you know what, I'm not gonna That's a spoiler. Okay. But and of course Steelbound, it is based on the old legend of John Henry. And it's oh, you like that one?
I you go ahead. I'll tell you why I like that you said that so much.
I mean, in the front of the book, there's a snippet of the song. And so, again, we know in the end of the original John Henry story, he died doing what he loved. And then he had this hammer that could, along with his strength and the hammer, he was doing all these feats. And then when he passed away, the hammer was buried with him. So when the rot starts making like a final assault, he calls on his descendant Ursa, go find my hammer and basically kick butt with it. All right, just go use it like I used it, as much as you can, as best as you can. And that story just explains like what went on after John Henry passes and what happened to that hammer that he said in the song was going to be the death of him. And that just wrapped up the whole story. The four women get together and each they have their own tale, hence Tales of the Riven Isles, but they are also intertwined too. And it all goes back to the Celestial Vine,
Mm.
which is, of course, Jack and the Beanstalk, one of the most famous fairy tales on the face of the planet. At least I think it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Which we talked a lot about actually in our last
Mm-hmm.
interview. So everybody should pause, go there, then come back.
Mm-hmm.
I just think anytime someone mentions John Henry, I just sort of think I think I must have been in second or third grade.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was in the library for sure, and I just had the best librarian. And yeah, she's retired now, but my mom was telling her about 3 years ago because she tried retired right after the pandemic, and yeah, she was like, because she was the first one to hand me my first fantasy book,
Mm-hmm.
which was pretty cool for one of the Forgotten Realms. I actually remember it was Shadowdale, part of the Avatar trilogy. Yeah, complete. She's like, you read Star Wars all the time. Like, so she gave me Seven Songs of Merlin when I was younger. Gave me that one, yeah. But when I was younger, like she opens up John Henry's Tale, and it was one of the most beautifully illustrated books I've ever seen. Yeah, and I just was like enamored by it. And then I forget who played him in the Disney movie,
Yeah.
Wild Tales, right? But like seeing him come to life with Wild Bill and Paul Bunyan, I loved that movie.
Yeah.
And Pecos Bill, yeah, and like yeah, I loved it. So for me, like it was cool because I was talking to R.R. Birdie, and I know I mentioned this in our last interview too about where these tales come from, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought it would be so cool to take Hercules or Heracles, right, and then
Mm-hmm.
go all the way back to where I thought maybe he originated from.
Yeah.
And I went all the way back to this place, really like on right on like the western side of like Ethiopia, way back when. And I thought it'd be really cool to go to India and then
Mm-hmm.
have that same, just have this person be immortal and really strong and have him go up. And I thought, what's my modern day equivalent? And I'm gonna have all these tales in ancient history all the way to today be him.
Mm-hmm.
And my modern day equivalent is John Henry. So he's gonna go and tell this kid and
Excellent.
go through all and say you have to save them and stuff with all these monsters and stuff. But yeah, so
Oh, I
John
can.
Henry is gonna be my captor.
I
So
love doing that.
anytime someone says John Henry, I'm like, yes, please.
I was like that with Charlotte's Web. I don't
Oh
know if you
man,
hear this
such a
noise
great
my
one.
cat is making.
Why we can't even hear it? It's totally fine. People
Uh,
on here love familiars too. People will go on the
mhm.
YouTube and make comments and be like, "Bring the bird back." One of my friends is like, "No, no, no, they're in the other
Yeah.
room."
I lift her up, but she's not a lap cat.
It's
Yeah,
funny.
so she'll.
Yeah, my kid's like that too. Like, yeah, he
Mhm.
interrupted one day and he did not want to go on camera.
Yeah. It's
We
funny.
edited him out. Let me just say that.
Oh, okay, that's good. She's
Well,
messing
that's
with.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, so when it comes to Steelbound, I love the cover, by the way. You always have the best
Thank
covers.
you.
So, but when it comes to like Steelbound,
Hmm.
and this like continuation of the world, like, how did you go about adding different characters and and adding to the world that you've already built?
That's kind of. I think that's the one I said it was kind of a. No, no, that wasn't the tough one. There was another question. Um, and I wish I could remember what I put down. Oh my goodness. Uh,
Oh, you said focuses on the protagonist.
yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Not a problem.
I'm old. I
It's
forget
a
things.
Friday.
But yes, I wanted to write a series that would focus on these four very strong, very powerful black women. You have the witch, you have the diviner, you have the, I'm not sure if I'm even using the word right, the thaumaturge.
Hmm,
I think that's what it's called. And
sounds right.
yeah, and the elf, she's, Docklefar, that's what I call them, the Docklefar princess. And I wanted to get these four women together. I wanted to make it like a blending of sorts of these different women who all, once they're all together, they are going to be able to fight the rot in their own individual stories. But in the end, you put them all together, and then that's how the final battle is going to go. Was I
That's super cool.
close?
Yeah. Sounded good.
Okay.
But I think that's really cool. That's like I always call it the Avengers scene, right?
Hmm.
And because I
Yes.
yeah, and like people want that. Like people do not like some of the Marvel movies recently because they don't get that Avengers feel, right? Particularly like the first movie. So yeah, I always think about that for my urban fantasy. I have like certain characters. I actually just came up with one. My final character for my team is like essentially like my magician or sorcerer or whatever. But yeah, and I came up with him based off of like a short story I'm writing for an anthology. And I was like, oop, my cast of characters is complete. So now I can start to work on the other book ones and stuff for everybody. But yeah, I can't wait to combine them at some point. I was like, oh man, it's gonna be so much fun. So I'm really jealous of you, Wendy,
Oh,
because that just sounds awesome. And I know we had talked about it too, on our last interview. So I'm so glad to. When I got the email for you, I was like, "Yep, let's do this thing." Like you mentioned earlier, right? Like we checked in with you at different points, and I always love doing that with returning guests because it's almost like this is like our video diary, right? Where it's like this was this date, this year, and then we kind of go from there. Because it's so funny because when I had met certain authors years ago in Arizona, like Brandon Sanderson was on his fourth book and people still didn't know who he was, right? Patrick Rothfuss had just came out with In the Name of the Wind. Hell, Pierce Brown had just came out with Red Rising. I met him at the bookstore with all these people and he goes, "Oh, I might."
all these people. Now I'm
Oh man, it was
interested.
amazing. Kevin Hearn, Brian McCullen, it was his first year there. Michael J. Sullivan had just hadn't even like signed a trad deal yet. So to see all these people now, it's just like it's unreal. Django Wexler was there. He was still indie. He had not signed his trad deal yet. There were a bunch of others too. It was absolutely amazing, and they're all in one spot.
People come to Delaware and do stuff.
Well, Kevin Hearn used to bring everybody to the Poison Pen, and I know the pandemic kind of ruined it. So, but yeah, I was lucky. I got to go a couple years before that, but it was a great experience. But it made me want to start this podcast to check in with you guys on different spots like this. And I've had some people blow up, like Carissa Broadbent was on here my first season, and she's like all over Target now, like Barnes and Noble with her
Oh, I
books.
wish I was all
So
over Target.
yeah, one of these days though, Wendy, I'm telling you, I'm good luck. Like I don't have good luck, but
Yeah,
there are
okay.
people on here that have gone on to win so many contests and get trad
Mhm.
deals and stuff. I'm like, are people just watching my show and not subscribing? All you literary agents out there, and please subscribe, guys. But yeah, I think it's really cool though to see, yeah, where you were at last time. Because yeah, we had just talking, yeah, about book three. So it's so cool now to see, with book four with Steelbound. So super, super awesome. But yeah, sounds amazing. Yeah, you had me at John Henry. So
Good.
we'll move to that fourth one for you, Wendy. What was one of your primary goals for this book, and do you think you were successful in achieving it?
I do think I was successful in achieving it. Just one of the primary goals was to show, introduce these old fables and fairy tales in a new light. We all know about the really famous ones, the Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, all those things. I like to find those other ones that some of them are famous, but you don't hear much about them. Like uh where was I once? I don't know if it was in a critique group or something, and I had just finished Tinderbox and I was getting it critiqued, and this one woman was like, well, "What is all this about this Tinderbox? What is that?" And I said, it's a little box that you use to, you got your flint and stuff, and I said it's based on the old story. What old story? Uh, Hans Christian Andersen's The Tinderbox. Well, I don't know who that is, so you're gonna
Oh,
have to
well.
explain it in the book. And jaw, my jaw is still on the floor over that one.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she was like one of those writers that like, oh, I'm the best writer on the face of the planet. Everybody else is just peasants, blah blah blah. So when she said, I don't know who Hans Christian Andersen is, I was like, okay, you don't need to be writing fantasy. It's and
Yeah.
what I always say is it's like someone who's writing a big horror novel. They don't know who Stephen King is,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
or romance, and they don't know who Nora Roberts is or Danielle
Yeah,
Steele. It's like, come on, really?
it's
You've
interesting.
got to know something.
Yeah.
So that was that, and like I said, Renard the Fox is another fable that I've actually always liked. I know Renard was a big jerk, but I always like how they did that fable, and of course, Alice in Wonderland, and again, your favorite, John Henry. I'm going to do more of these because I am finding so many different tales that, I mean, I can't say that a lot of people haven't heard them. I can only say that I haven't. Like there was this one, uh, somebody like made a movie that was kind of based on it, but it's called The White Cat's Castle.
I don't think I
And
know that one.
it's kind of, it's sort of like Beauty and the Beast, but it's a beautiful princess. She gets turned into a cat by an evil sorcerer, and this other king sends his sons out to do all this stuff to prove that they're worthy. And the youngest goes to the White Cat's castle, and she takes care of him and everything. But then he has to leave, go back to his father. And I had never heard the story until I read about it in this anthology, and I was like, hmm. So I made that maybe something I will do in the near future.
Oh, it's cool.
Mhm.
It's super cool. I always love to hear ones I haven't heard before.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And right now I'm reading all of Aesop's fables, so I'm like, there's got to be something else in here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because Netflix it's only like 10 episodes and I'm blanking on what it's called. I keep meaning to like look this show back up again so I can watch the rest. But like they did like like a History Channel show, right? Where you're going to places physically and then they would tell these stories. And then they would do really cool animations too. And like there were some like Mesopotamian tales. They did really great African mythology from some, different points, right? That I have not studied. So it was interesting. And some had like really influenced like early ancestors like the Mali and stuff, Empire, and like Ghana. And I was like, it was absolutely so well done. But it made
I
me realize there's so much out there that, you know, and like maybe you like you said, right? You're hitting a vein that people don't know, so that's pretty cool. And somebody like me who's a historian who's like, oh, I really want to go and read the actual tale and then, kind of see both. So it's keep people kind of coming and going, I think, so to speak. So I think that's a really cool idea.
thank you. Yeah, I've got another book plan that does take its cue from African
Mm.
tales.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
that's probably not going to be for a while though, but but yeah, that's
I
what
know
I'm up
that feeling. My friend
to.
asked my publishing like date, like what I had planned, and he was like, "Wait," because I just did this thing. Like I told him this really cool idea, but I can't do it for like 4 projects
Mhm.
that are out physically. He was like, "I
Yeah.
can't believe you would even tell me about something that awesome," and then you have to wait like at least the next like year and a half. I was like, "Probably true." So
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. Don't forget hit subscribe, as my friend would say. But I like how we did talk about last time, and I did think about this actually. Well, speaking of this idea, so we were reading Odyssey, and there was these different things going on last week, and I just need like I'm in editing hell right now with like 3 different projects because that's all I'm doing is editing. I
Mhm.
found out I am not good at just editing. I need to write first And then, like I just can't just edit. Like I can never be just an editor, like, and not just an editor, but I can't do it myself. Like I would
Yeah.
have to write and edit. And like based off of our last conversation, I had talked about quite a bit of, like history or certain myths. So I took one myth of like Odysseus' sword, where he cuts open the underworld and got it from like Euphrates or whatever. Like somebody's trying to make fun of him and he won like a contest. So I thought, oh, that's really interesting. Like, what can I do with that? And I loved our last conversation because it really just got me thinking. I think more and more about that kind of, like stuff. So whether it's, we talked a lot about fairy tales last time, right? Whether it's fairy tales or whether it's history. I don't know. To me, those are just so much more fun to then take some of those kernels and to make a story out of. So yeah, since we talked last time in our last interview, that's been more and more what I've done, particularly for my urban fantasy too. It's just more fun to me. So I think if people, like that, they should continue to read stuff like that.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
all right. Well, we'll keep going here. Speaking of chronomancy, so do you mind telling us what that is and how you used it to really kind of like create the magic system for that?
Okay. Well, chronomancy is the manipulation of time. You can't like time travel back or time travel forward or anything because there's a lot of reasons why you can't do that. But she can make things older, make things younger. But whenever she uses her power, time, as I said, takes back what you take from it. It's a universal force. You can't control it. So she can like, if someone is injured, she can, bend time forward to heal them, but she can't go too far because, say, what if the wound gets infected or gangrene? She just uh quicken this person like dying or using a limb, so she has to be very, very careful with how she uses it. It's not control, it's just, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of this and use it to do this, but I'm not going to overdo it, otherwise I am going to end up like 5 years older, like she did in Tarotmancer. But the celestial vine is the source of all magic. All the dark and light fae were birthed from the celestial vine. And you might think like, why dark and light fae? Well, you got to have that balance.
A
Pure and simple, good and evil.
lot of mythology about them from both
And
sides.
yeah, and nobody really knows where the vine came from. It's touched on in Steelbound, so I'm not gonna yeah, I'm gonna wait. But it just is the source of all magic, and you can draw on its magical power. But like with chronomancy, if you take too much, it's gonna want something back, which is why uh um Isbeth, Harper, and Faith all got those tattoos showing, hey, this is one of my people now.
I just thought that that sounded really cool, so I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. But I feel like last time too, we talked, about your other characters and the things they could do, and where you
Yeah.
got those different ideas from. So I think it's good for people to know that because I think some people, like right now, I'm like struggling to figure out. I got to figure out between now and next week for my 5K anthology story. I got to figure out. I have the character, I have like the story now. I really got to figure out the powers and things. Like what can he do, what can he do,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So yeah, so I think it's always good for people to know, like how like what this is, right? And then I think for me it always gives me a really good idea on something else I want to do, and it could just be hearing the idea, right? So I definitely encourage people. That's why I watch podcasts. That's why I podcast myself, is because I always get a really great idea. I'm a social studies teacher. Cultural diffusion is the one I teach the most, so I try to live up to that as well. So I don't know, that when you said that to me, I was like, oh, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I just thought that was such a cool concept. Yeah, super awesome. Now, as you work on the next installment well, not in this series, but just like the next book, what is like your main project, do you think? What's going to be like the one you prioritize next? You always got a lot going on. What's the next thing and
It
why?
definitely will be the Girl of Morning Glory.
God, okay.
It was supposed to be, and I don't know why this keeps happening. It was supposed to be a standalone book,
I
and
know that feeling.
Yeah, and then this other idea popped into my head. I was outside walking around, and there is this like trail uh behind our house, and there's this little creek, but sometimes people don't respect it and they throw junk in it and stuff like that there. And then I was walking in one night, and this title just popped into my head. The Girl of Half Past Midnight, about a
Ooh, that's
doll
good.
who is thrown out, into the lake, and this is another cat. There's the stray that used to come to my house. I don't know where he is now. I hope he's okay. And this stray cat goes out and helps her find her way around. So I was like, well, dang, okay. I guess this is a duology now.
That's awesome. Well, that's awesome though that you have that idea because if you do that right, and then you're at where you're selling and stuff, so hopefully you get both markets opened up, right? And then
So
hopefully the kids come, and then you get the adults, or they bring their parents like, oh, this looks cool, or vice versa. I have to say
yeah.
most people I know, right? Like my students were always teasing me at my old school. They're like, "Is your kid gonna like fantasy and sci-fi like you?" I said, "Oh, I hope they don't turn into one of those just straight fiction people." But most people I know, right? They read like those similar genres or are interested in like their parents. So yeah, I hope you can get them coming and going at
Goodbye.
different ages. So that's really cool. But I think everybody, like you mentioned earlier, the fairy tales, like, and I love the concept too. Like we talked with, uh, last time, and I think it's so cool with taking Alice in Wonderland and those themes. And you really made me think because we had talked, I think, right, about the Return to Oz, where Dorothy returns to Oz, and that movie was like absolutely freaky. To
Yeah.
this day, like
Oh,
I
I've
still,
heard. I haven't seen it though.
oh man, as a writer, I always tell people you gotta watch it. They were, yeah, the world building was it was just so different, and like, yeah, to see where the first one was to that, like, I still to this day pull a lot of different things. Like if I want something scary or world building like that, I actually pull from that movie. Yeah, I think it had some really interesting themes and threads, but I think it's so cool because and we talked about this last time. I just never really thought about but Alice and Wonderland, and there was a TV show on the Disney Channel years and years ago at my babysitter's. I think it was like maybe 4 or 5, and yeah, and then like it's where Alice did go back to Wonderland, and everything was all like hunky dory and stuff. And even as a kid, I was like, would it really be? So I just loved when you had that concept, like. Kind of like answer some of those questions. So, but that's
It,
also cool because it takes things that people know. And shame on that writer for not knowing Hans Christian Andersen.
I still, like I said, my jaw is still on the floor about that.
And
And
I
I'm
understand if
ashamed.
you don't know a bunch of the tales or something, but to not just
Yeah,
know the person, like that's so you
yeah,
don't know Shakespeare then, is what you're trying to tell me.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty
I'm
crazy.
I'm going to be a famous poet. Oh, like Shakespeare? Who's that? Or a poet or a playwright? It's like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm
that's
gonna
like saying
go
you
over
want to be a poet,
here
you don't know
now.
Shel Silverstein or Robert Frost or I don't
Yeah,
know, like the person. Like you want to play basketball, you don't know who Michael Jordan or
exactly.
Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark or anybody are.
Mhm.
I don't know. I do encourage people from the audience. Like we're laughing about it, and I'm shocked. I guess as a teacher, like I'm like man. And I used to teach English, and now I
Mhm.
teach social studies with English with another teacher. So I'm thinking to myself, man, maybe I need to go back, right? Because we do a lot of mythology and stuff. Maybe I need to get these fairy tales in. But if you have not read,
Yes.
any of them, yeah, highly encourage you to read Hans Christian Andersen. I always think of Heath Ledger and Matt Damon, where they're
No, 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 no.
oh, you gotta give me that movie was interesting though, taking the original idea of Tales and then how they changed though. I thought that concept it stuck with me. Yeah, like I don't think it's a great representation of any of them, but to see where a tale could be, like the kernel of truth, and then how it could be changed over time. That concept to me, back in high school, like really has that's what I do with urban fantasy now. So I liked it because of the ideas that it shifted in me. I thought it was really interesting. And it made me think of where the original ideas came from. And I looked at a lot into them after that, particularly in college for some writing assignments. So I don't know. That one for me was like a catalyst of like trying to figure out what they were talking about and where the sources came from. I thought it was super interesting. It
Now,
made me a student of the craft, I guess you could say, of fairy tales.
now, if you want to do Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters,
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. So
yeah.
that's where I got historical urban fantasy ideas from, was that. Because I
Mhm.
thought, oh, I'm going to do both sides, right? Modern day and then that. Because Patricia Briggs and others write about that type
Yeah,
of stuff, but not, in the active mode, like not in present tense. It's always in the past. And I'm like, I'm like, that's what I love. So I'm going to do both. So that was one of the movies I absolutely like fell in love
yeah,
with.
me too.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'll give the Oz one a chance then. If it's streaming somewhere, I can actually put it on tonight while I'm working.
That one, to the maybe, and my friend, he goes, I think it's nostalgia. I watched it back in college, and then actually several years ago too, right before the pandemic, and I was like, it still freaked me out. Yeah, yeah. But I thought world building wise, and I had another author on a while back, and we kind of did a quick deep dive. I was like, he was like, dude, this movie was wild. I was like, I can't believe my grandma let me watch it at like age 6. But I love The Wizard of Oz, so I think she thought it was going to be la di da di da, and
Yeah,
not like, you know what I liken it to very much is the never ending story. Like there were just like,
yeah.
yeah, it completely like changed like both of those, and like Labyrinth, those movies
I
like,
love Labyrinth.
yeah, completely changed me as a person and maybe turned me into a writer. So now, if you could live any scene that you have written so far in any of your books, which one would you choose and why?
Okay, that was the one I said was a tough question.
I bet you have some good ones.
I wouldn't want to do any of that stuff.
You're smarter than every author I've ever had on
Yes.
here, Wendy.
I am a homebody, as you can see. I,
The Bilbo
you
Baggins, if
know,
you will. You
yeah,
mean my book?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Absolutely. You know, I every so often I go on an adventure, but I'm always making sure I'm in a position to just get up and go home if I want
Yeah.
to, because I have been in situations, like I said, where uh somebody has said, "Oh, well, let's go and do this." And we'll drive, they'll pick me up and we'll drive hundreds of miles. And when I get there, I'll be like, I'm not really enjoying myself here, but I can't say or do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, no, that's why I make my characters, let them go out and have all the fun and all the adventure and everything. I will just stay here in the house with my coffee and, just write the stories. It's all on them.
That's really smart. Well, it's funny because my friends had just asked my wife and I, because usually we like went back out to Arizona, see our friends and stuff. My old roommate, one of my good friends, and like, or we go somewhere, right? Like New York City on a weekend or Philly. But I was like, we have my son now. I was like, we're just waiting till he gets older to like go and ride the bus, and I can't wait till he's older. Like we're just gonna hop on that bus and or go somewhere for the weekend. It's gonna be awesome. But right now, I'm enjoying my rest period, as I call it.
Uh-huh.
So still probably got a year and a half. So yeah, can't wait. But yeah, I can't wait to take him to some just amazing places where we've been. But yeah, a lot of them involving books, ironically. I'm sure nobody saw that coming, but I moved here to go to all the New England states, and I haven't been to any of them. We kept going further out west. It was like wild. So, well, I think you're smarter than any, and
Oh,
I'll tell them to
yeah.
their face, Wendy. Yeah, somebody's like, I would definitely do this dragon scene where, like, oh, maybe I'm saying too much. But yeah, and I was like, this character gets into a dragon, like fight essentially, and has to figure out how to like jump off a mountain and like not die. So it's like either jump or the dragon. And I was like, that's what you would choose. Like, I would choose like the scene where I'm like the hero and coming back with the lost child or something, right? Not the fight before it, where I almost died or something. Yeah, yeah, that's super funny. All right. Well, do you have any news, updates, current projects, anything like that you can share with us? I know you mentioned them earlier, but sometimes people cut to the last minute here. So you don't mind just kind of summarizing those new things you're working on. That way they can get that info too. Really appreciate it.
Like I said, I'm shopping young adult contemporary fantasy. Girl of Morning Glory. Doll comes to life. She has to learn about the meaning of life and death, and she has a lot of friends who are helping her through this. Then I have a series that I am rewriting. I haven't like renamed it or done anything with that yet, but it is a straight young adult fantasy about this. She's a fairy type girl, and it's kind of like a love triangle thing going on. Like she has the best friend who's in love with her, and then she has the villain who wasn't really a villain when he started off, but now he is, and he falls for. And that's going to be like a 4 book series there. Oh, and I also have my science fantasy Immortal Stream. That is about an alien race who arrived. What was that date when they said the Mayan calendar, December
Oh
20?
God, was that 2000, year
Yeah,
2000?
I can't remember what it was. I should. I mean, I wrote it in the book. But there's everybody's like, "Oh, it's the apocalypse," but it wasn't. The
Yeah.
aliens turn out to be good guys, and they're giving Earth all these new, you know, all these new innovations and machinery. Like uh, hunger is almost gone. Pollution is almost gone. I say almost because there are people out there who want to just keep doing it the old way. And so there are like two different, there's one antagonist in that book. And that's this organization who wants to take us back to when the air was polluted because going green costs too much money for them. So, but then also, well, I don't want to give too much away, but
Sounds awesome.
yeah, but yeah, that's where I am right now. And if you would like to see other works in progress, readers, you can just go to my website under www.authorwasimpson.com/WIP. And
And
that'll
you
tell
can
you
go
everything.
right to the description too, and you can
Yeah.
find that website right there. We'll make sure we put that in
Yeah.
there for you, Wendy.
But like I
So,
said, it may look kind of weird because I've been working on revamping my website for the past 2 weeks. So my apologies.
I mean, mine's gonna have to be done by now, but I'm gonna go with Wendy too. Mine's under construction currently. All of a sudden, WordPress, we switched to WordPress from Wix, and then all of a
That's where
sudden
I
they were
am.
like, yeah, they go, oh yeah, like because I thought it was cheaper, and it was, and then they changed all their WordPress changed all their style prices. So then I was just like, I said to my buddy, go, we should have just kept the Wix page up. So,
Yeah.
but we're already like halfway there now. So I was like, we're gonna pay for some colors or something at this point.
I'm going to go back and work on it as soon as we're finished.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, I want to just remind everybody, like I said, you can find all of Wendy's books and social links, things like that, down in the description, anywhere we are watching or listening to this podcast. We want to remind everybody in the audience, please make sure once you do review, read a book, please make sure you review it. Tinderbox is still on my list for this year. I was really too nice and decided to to do too many arcs at the end of last year. So I'm still like finalizing like 3 right now and the reviews for those authors. So then I'll get caught back up on my list. But I have Tinderbacks on there. I'm really excited to read Steelbound as well. But yeah, I'm always make sure I review all the books that people have given me, arcs in particular. So if you guys could continue to do that, we would all really appreciate it. Helps everybody out, no matter if they're trad or indie.
Yes.
Other creatives as well that have been on here. Wendy, thank you so much. This has been great. Always love chatting with you. If you need anything else in the meantime, I'll send you a follow-up email for like this release date and stuff. But yeah, I'll try and see if I can squeeze you in a little earlier to release date for Steelbound.
Thank
Yeah,
you
trying to get
very
this
much
both.
for
So
having me. I had a
anytime,
blast.
anytime. All right. Well, we hope everybody has a great rest of the day. Again, Wendy, thank you so much, and we'll see
Okay.
everybody again soon. See you
Bye,
guys.
everybody.